What's going on, you guys? It's your boy Ben Mahari here, representing Mahari Nation Sports Podcast. Much love to the entire LDBC and the entire basketball community, man. Wanted to make sure to show you guys some love, though, man, with a good video here today, man. I will have my live stream, Friday nights at 9 p.m. Central Time at this point right now because my work schedule is starting to lighten up a little bit. So I got some time to, get through my live stream and do all that other good stuff. Um, Also, if you want to donate to the channel though too, the Cash App link will be in the description box there too as well. Um, you can donate any money to the value of this channel and to the development of this channel as well, man. I want to also once again personally thank the African Sci-Fi Scholar and Jay Good for their contributions to the channel, man. Much appreciated. Now, with that out the way, let's get down to the business at hand here, shall we? And also, before I begin this video, I wanted to shout out, Two Raw for TV, Ticket TV, LVZ, Lamont Lane, FYF Sports Debates, man. You know what I mean? And LB, you know what I mean? They always, keeping it real. They always, discussing all good talk about basketball and all that other good stuff. But you know what I mean? But I want to discuss about this subject at hand here because I just listened to what Two Raw had to say in this last video. You know what I mean? Now he was praising me breaking it down about what he saw last night. Between what happened between the Lakers and the Brooklyn Nets, man. And I watched some of the game last night, and I will not lie, I was bored to death about it. You know what I mean? But I was kind of surprised how the Lakers came in. With KD and Kyrie on as well. With the Lakers without AD and LeBron on their team and got blown out by at least 20 points. But somehow the discussion that I was thinking about in my head is that there've been a lot of people that's been eyeing the criticism about KD about what he's been doing. But here's my point to this: the subject of this video that I'm talking about is that these two players, LeBron James and Kevin Durant, are top 10 players. Regardless of what we always feel about it. Now, look, I been always been enjoyed about this version of NBA basketball in this generation? I should say this decade. No, I have not. I've not seen that level of stars teaming up together at any other period in time in the history of basketball. You know what I mean? It's one of the reasons why I haven't made that many videos or I haven't even watched that much NBA basketball, overall. Because I'm just tired of all the consistent teaming up with stars that we're seeing here in today's basketball. But do I blame them for doing this? No, because what we see in history is that these organizations will cut these superstars when they feel that their value and their market value or their production will basically decline, and they can basically cut you like chopped liver. I mean, just remember what happened to Isaiah Thomas when he was with the Boston Celtics. People forget Isaiah Thomas. I'm not trying to say that he's anywhere near those players, but I'm just using his story as an example. Isaiah Thomas, when he was with the Boston Celtics, was having the best years of his career by far. Okay, this was a guy that many people had him in the MVP conversation. All right, during that year when he was with the Boston Celtics, it was basically around the 2016-2017 season. It was the best year of his career by far when he was averaging nearly 29 points a game, shooting around 46% from the field, 37% from 3-point range. And he was going through a lot of personal things at the time. You know what I'm saying? He basically lost his sister. All right. He had his tooth knocked out and he was playing with a very bad, hip pointer that really, that really hindered the Celtics' opportunities to be in the late between the Cavaliers and the conference final. But what happened afterwards? When it was contract year, when it was time to pretty much, give him the guaranteed contract that he rightfully deserved. What happened? He was pretty much traded to the Cleveland Cavaliers, and basically they treated him like a fucking jerk off. All right, that's what happened. Okay, and then the Celtics brought in Kyrie Irving, and he didn't even last even 1 year. So I mean, I'm sorry. I didn't. I take that back. Kyrie at least stayed at least a couple of years. But let's be real. His time in Boston was not as revering as many people thought he was be. All right. He only spent 2 years in Boston. Okay. The point I'm trying to make this is this: these players right now at this stage right now, they are basically looking at themselves and look at basketball as more as a business than they do as a sport. They could try to put it out there as a front to say that they're still in love with the game, which I'm sure a lot of them do. But at the same time, the NBA is also a business as well. And at the end of the day, they look everything as a business. They're gonna look at a lot of these franchises and think what's the best situation for them, not just about the money, but how they're gonna increase their chances of winning a championship. That's how they look at things, right? Yes, I agree wholeheartedly that LeBron James, was the first guy to start kickstarting that process of super teams. Back when he was a free agent and made that whole drama of the decision on national TV, which was absolutely ridiculous. You know what I mean? But we also have to consider the fact that there have been super teams that have been built in the past as well. You know what I mean? But people like to point out the Rockets of the mid '90s, but that team was too old at that time, so I don't even include that at all. You know what I mean? A lot of these championship teams were super teams, all right, but a lot of them were constructed through the draft. Okay, so but the point I'm trying to make to y'all is this: Kevin Durant, made the decision when he was in OKC to leave that situation to go to Golden State because he felt that he wasn't going to win a championship with Russell Westbrook on his squad. And a lot of people had directed their hatred against KD for that particular reason. I didn't like it at all. To me, as a guy that loves watching competitive basketball, it just left a bad taste in my mouth. Like, why would you want to make this kind of move? But looking back, he kind of saw the writing on the wall that he wasn't going to have much of a chance of making it work with Russell Westbrook, and they pretty much have been teammates for pretty much a long time, and they made an NBA Finals together. You know what I'm saying? But when Kevin Durant was with Golden State, that team was much more deeper and much more fluid. All right, and the ball moves much better. They always like to play, the roses between Steph Curry, Clay, and Draymond. But Kevin Durant deserves a lot of the credit of what he was able to do during that time in Golden State. And if it wasn't for Draymond Green and his stupid ass mouth, basically telling him we don't need you, we don't want you here, he would have stayed in Golden State and they probably would have not paid Draymond Green that much money. But hey, they made that decision, and they're gonna have to live with it. But my point is this: you know, people have their own opinions about who's the top 10 or who is their top 5 greatest players of all time. All right, people are gonna have Kevin Durant maybe as their top 10, top 5. The same with LeBron James. At the end of the day, they're just opinions. But both of those guys that you see on the screen here, both Kevin Durant and LeBron James, they're going to be top 10 players regardless of what we think of them. All right. Listen, we all have our own individual list of top 10 greatest players of all time. All right. But based on championships, based on what they did for their legacies, all these lists are subjective. All right. But the truth of the matter is that we recognize how great they how great of players they've been. All right. But the one thing that I have my own criticism of Kevin Durant is simply as this. You've been pretty much doing what LeBron has been doing all these years, but you have taken it to another level, which has become much more ridiculous with each passing day. And last night, the way he played last night, it was just non-efficient. Now, you can say that he was playing on minutes restriction because of a bad hamstring pull. But remember, Michael Jordan was also on a minutes restriction too. The difference was the Brooklyn Nets know that they're going to make the playoffs no matter what. They're going to be a top team in the Eastern Conference. The, Michael Jordan, when he came back from the foot injury, all right, they were battling for a playoff spot, and he was on minute restrictions, and he had to basically ball out that entire time until they made the playoffs. The Bulls at that during the 85-86 season, they had no intentions of making the playoffs. But Michael Jordan, through his will and grit, helped lead that team to the playoffs with 30 wins. Okay? So I do understand where that sentiment is coming from. All right. But the bottom line is that we have to stop letting the hatred of these players or any other player for that matter get in the mind of what we see as fact and what we see as reality. And I love my OG too raw for TV, but you know you got it. Every championship is valid, man. You can't take away what they've done as players and what they achieved. All right, and even if they have a stacked deck, even if they won the championship of a stacked deck, the bottom line is you could say, "Oh, that championship don't mean nothing in my eyes." The key word is in your eyes, but not everybody thinks of it the same way. I don't think of it the same way, even though I may not like it at all. The bottom line is every championship that a great player has won is valid. We can't take away what Kobe Bryant did. We can't take away what Michael Jordan did, or even what LeBron did throughout their respective careers. All right. So, and more importantly, you can't take away what Bill Russell did, even though he had stacked teams during the '60s. Okay, let's keep that in mind now. All right, think about how many championships that Bill Russell prevented during the '60s. All right, he prevented Hall of Famers from winning championships until the time that he retired. All right, so what are we saying here? Now look, by the time LeBron's career is over with, he might eclipse at least 38 to 39,000 points if he continues to stay healthy and continues to score at that rapid pace. All right, he's already third on the all-time scoring list behind Karl Malone and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. If he plays at least about 3 to 4 more seasons, barring injury, he could be the NBA's all-time leading scorer, and he could be second to third all-time in career assists. You know what I mean? At that point, no matter what I think of LeBron James, you know what I mean? He's going to be in the top 10, top five discussion regardless. Do I have him as my top five player? No, because I think there have been greater players that have been better than LeBron, but I can't put him out of the top 10. And some people may have Kevin Durant as a top five, top 10 player. You know what I mean? To me, they're going to be top 10 players regardless of what we think of that. And I had to come down here and just give some little bit of defense for that, just a little bit for defense for that, but not entirely. I think that both of these guys benefited from basically jumping around and basically having superstars playing with them. At the same time, I can't blame for doing that. But the bottom line is, I've always rebelled and hated against it because I've hated star players teaming up with each other, playing on super teams, and trying to win a championship off of each other's superstar value. You know what I mean? And I've always resented that. That's one of the particular reasons why I have not watched as much as NBA basketball as much as I should have. But these games have been pretty much bore fest. But you know what? I might make a separate video about why I have not watched that much basketball this year than at any other time in the last few years. You know what I mean? Because I think there's much more to my reasoning than I'm sure a lot of people may have familiar reasoning to that. So, but that's just my 2 cents. You let me know what you think in the comment section below. And again, this is no shot at Too Raw or nothing like that. I just had to basically, give my side of the story about this. Also, subscribe to Too Raw for TV, man. His comments, his videos, and all that is top of the line, man. But I had to come in and to give my little bit of defense for Kevin Durant for that. But I is no ill will to that. But you let me know what you think in the comment section below. And with that, I'm out. Peace.